the United Kingdom government unveiled a floating prison, what they are calling the Migrant barge or the Migrant ship. And this is basically a ship or a barge that have been constructed using shipping containers. It has about 300 rooms and it is supposed to host up to 500 African asylum seekers that are trying to basically seek asylum in the UK.
The UK has come up with a new plan to have a barge, like literally a boat, floating boat, like a floating building in the water, okay, in the sea. That floating boat, which is a barge, will be hosting immigrants. So if you go to the UK from now on as an immigrant, you will not be housed in houses like they used to. They will put you in a barge, which is like a, like inflated balloon, but in a house, like a form of a house. It's like a 3-story building house. It's going to be floating on the sea, and that's where you're going to stay until they process your request of asylum. That's the newest thing. It is shocking, it is shocking to see the level. They're trying very hard because a couple of days ago, the court came up with a ruling. UK wanted to send immigrants to Rwanda. Yeah. They said every immigrant that will come, specifically from a certain continent that it's not Ukraine, other people, they don't not very much liked. If you come to the UK illegally, you'll be sent to Rwanda. That's where they're going to process your situation. For most of the time, obviously, you're going to stay in Rwanda. If you're not happy, you can go back to your country. Now, the court has refused to send some people, some migrants that were in the UK that were ready to be sent to Rwanda. The court refused to send those people back to Rwanda, and then they said they're going to come up with something, with an appeal. But before they even came with an appeal, they came up with an idea.
We're spending as a country £6 million a day housing illegal asylum seekers in hotels. That can't be right. I've committed to reducing that number, moving asylum seekers out of hotels, and that means we need to find alternative sites, and including barges like the one we've brought forward today.
A barge, so a floating boat. It looks like a 3-story building house. Yes, it's floating on the sea. The goal is to keep the asylum seekers on the boat, on this whatever thing you call it. They say the barge is due to be used to house hundreds of asylum seekers in Dorset. Is not a prison. This is what they say. This is not a prison, but an effort will be made to avoid those living on board needing to leave the port to access service in the local community, a minister said. So the goal is to keep you on this whatever thing that they're going to have on the sea to prevent you from leaving the port to try access services on the local community. They don't want you in local communities. As the government struggles to drum up support among local politicians for the plans, the Transport Minister, Richard Holden, claimed amenities such as doctors, surgery will be set up on the site. So you will have doctors. You won't need to leave the boat. So this is a floating little thing in the sea. You're going to be staying there. There will be restaurants inside. You'll have doctors in case you need a doctor. No need to go to town. No need to go on firm ground looking for a doctor. Everything will be assigned for you over there. He said the barge and other similar planned project will be the places for people to be safe and secure while their immigration claims and asylum claims are being processed. No more going to Britain, no more walking to the shops, no more going to the store. You're going to be held in the middle of the sea. It's shocking, isn't it? It's crazy. In short terms, Holden, who's the minister, said he acknowledged that there will be a significant turnover of asylum seekers moving in and out as the application were processed. But he stressed the move was designed to deter more people arriving in small boats across the channel. Obviously, they want to make it as uncomfortable as possible for you not to go to the UK. So the goal is not necessarily to keep you away from the local community, to protect you. No, the goal is to make you very uncomfortable. Because who want to leave wherever they are to go live in the middle of the sea on a floating engine, floating barge? Doesn't make any sense. If that doesn't show you how much you're not very much liked, then I don't know what will show you. Because this is very similar to what you see in Australia. Australia doesn't accept migrants in the country. They will send you on an island. Yes. Far away from the mainland. It's literally a prison where you have a time to get out, a time to come in. It's a prison. The objective, the goal is to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible. But they forget in the meantime, as much as they say this is to upkeep Australia, they forget that they came to Australia too. Yeah, Australia did not belong to them. Australia belonged to other people. They came by force and stayed by force. So it's the same thing as the UK. What's just shocking to me is to see this Prime Minister who's, almost as dark as me. living in the UK, whatever. I don't know if he was born there or something. But still, he is the pioneer into trying to keep people away from the UK. I don't get it. I'm sure there should be another way, more humane. Because I don't think it's what they claim to be. Because if they could accept Ukrainian and pay them money, then it means they have the fund and the means and the capability to host these people. I'm not saying they should host everybody. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying choosing is so clear now. Like, who do we accept? Who do we not accept? It's so clear. The discrimination is evident. Okay, fellas, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel really bad. Like, why would I go trying to force myself in places they don't want me? Then you cry when boats and ships sink. Do you think all this stuff happened by mistake? I don't think so. Like Obama said, if you want to protect them, we can protect them. If we want to have a solution about this, we can find a solution about it. I don't think they want to find a solution about this. In fact, they want drastic and dramatic things to happen, hoping that it's deter other people, hoping that it's discourage many people from coming in the UK. Because obviously you don't look very profitable for them. You most of the time look like you just use things, you just abuse things. You don't bring anything for them. I don't know if it's true. Let me know how you feel about this. It is very sad. A floating boat, a barge, due to house hundreds of asylum seekers while they're waiting for their project to be resolved. So you're going to be staying in there. If you need a doctor, you're going to find a doctor. There's a restaurant. So that's a prison, isn't it? Literally a prison. It's like Alcatraz in the USA. Alcatraz is a prison in the middle of the sea. Have you watched the movie? Yeah. There's a real Alcatraz. It's a prison in the middle of the sea. The goal is to keep all the most drastic criminals in that prison so they have no chance to escape. So this is basically a new Alcatraz for asylum seekers. And obviously, among all asylum seekers, there are people that are genuinely there because they need to be there. And some people are not necessarily in need to be there. But there are people that are persecuted, that are running away from wars, from all sort of, how about those people? Is everybody going to be treated the same way? Like they're all liars or trying to profit from the system?
So the UK government's plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda is unlawful, and this is according to the Court of Appeal, which did it in June 23rd on Thursday. And so that is the information. And now their plan B is now to construct this floating jail where these unwanted African asylum seekers can be hosted. And the other thing you need to know is that they have more than 100,000 asylum seekers or refugees from Ukraine who are being hosted in hotels and residential homes. And according to the UK, they spend about £6 million every month to maintain these Ukrainian refugees. But they can't stand the chance to give work permit and resident permit and even citizenship to Africans who have been in UK for more than 5 years seeking asylum. People from Sudan, people from Libya, people from other African countries have been there for more than 4 years seeking to be accepted there as asylum seekers, basically applications. But they want them to be harassed, to be put on these floating prisons because they are not Ukrainians and they are not white. And I know a lot of people from UK also feel that it's not up to them to host these people. But you see, every country is doing it in the world, and the fact that the UK and US, their foreign policy is the reason we have these refugees and migrants, because they go to these countries and create all sorts of trouble, and they do sponsor regime changes in these countries, in third world countries. In Africa, a lot of countries, coup d'etats were sponsored by British and Americans. And then there is also the fact that they colonized this country and left them poor than they found them. So all these economic refugees and political refugees are going back to these same countries that are the reason why they're actually running away from their own countries. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that the UK props up dictators, like in this case Paul Kagame. He's a dictator. His country is not safe, but they want to be paying him £300 million every year to host African refugees in Kigali. So now you understand.